Hello, I'm Brad Kramer with Provenio Consulting, and I want to talk about a topic today called key performance indicators, KPIs. A lot of companies, the safety department utilizes KPIs to communicate to plant employees and management different information on safety, so where they stand. Some examples are how many injuries did we have this month? How many lost time injuries did we have in the last 1 to 2 years? Stuff like that. So it's important information to get out to plant employees, but a lot of safety professionals tend to fill up those sheets or screen or whatever you're using to share that data, uh, filling it up with too much data and overwhelming people. So I'm going to show you a few tricks to keep those numbers being relevant to everybody and how to communicate them. Share my screen here and show something I put together for you here. First of all, if we're talking about, so I think I shared the wrong screen. All right, there we go. So if we're talking about key performance indicators, a few things we want to keep in mind here. One, we want to make sure that those metrics are meaningful to all the employees. Who's looking at them? If we're just sharing it with the plant employees, they're going to have a little bit different take on them than, for example, if we were sharing them with the management team. So with the management team, we can go into a little bit more depth, but we don't want to overwhelm everybody. So we're going to keep it simple. The second one is we want to share information that's relevant to that audience. So kind of like I just said, make sure they're meaningful for that audience. We don't want to overwhelm people and put too much on these slides or on these printouts or however we're sharing them. For example, if you have things on your KPIs, for example, RIFR, TIR, total injury rate, number of recordables per year, a lot of times that goes right over everybody's head. They don't know what those numbers mean, and therefore that wall or those postings are just a jumble of numbers. Nobody knows what they mean. And is your graph easy to understand? So you want to make sure you're using simple graphs. Typically, most of the time, plant employees aren't going to look at things like scatter graphs and stuff like that and really get much useful information out of them. So you want to make sure you're using a simple graph that gets the idea across, and that visual can be very powerful. So it makes it simple for employees to understand what's being communicated. They have that visual that now your mind comprehends things just a little bit better. And less can be more. So you want to make sure you're keeping those slides or that screen, again, whatever you're sharing on, as simple as possible, nice and clean. Let people's eyes draw to the important information rather than just being all kinds of stuff everywhere that overwhelms them. And finally, post it in a spot where it's going to be easy to study. All right, so I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet here. And this is the OSHA 300 log that I just downloaded right off the OSHA site. When you do that, the page is all locked down, so it's hard to make any edits to it, or if you want to add more tabs. So what you want to do is go to Review and then click the Protect Workbook, because what's going to happen is it's going to come locked. So this will be darkened when you get it. And you just want to click it again so that now you can make some changes to that. You don't want to change the format and stuff of the 300 log, but now we can start adding another tab to it. The one thing that you want to keep on the top of your mind is if, let's say OSHA comes in and does an inspection, anytime you're talking with OSHA, you don't want to give them any more information than they ask for, right? A lot of people get in trouble by the OSHA inspector asks a question, an open-ended question, and somebody rambles on and gives them more and more information. All of a sudden, that OSHA inspector has more to look into. So you don't want to, if they ask for your OSHA 300 log and you're going to open it on your computer, you don't want to give them access to all kinds of different tabs so that they can start clicking through everything and finding more information, right? So what you might want to do is either keep it on a completely different spreadsheet, or you can hide that tab and then unhide it as needed. So I'm going to go back to unhide and log, and you can see I hit a few more tabs there, and I'll show you what those are in just a second here. So this is going to include all our injuries, and including first aids or potentially near misses. Okay, so we have this information. You might want to have a few more tabs on it. This is just going to be for your information for management so that you can remember what the injuries were, what happened, and all that information that goes along with it. So you want to take this information, and I'm going to unhide one more slide here or one more tab. So basically what you do is you click on, say, body part, and you go to insert, and you're going to go from insert to recommended chart. Click on it, okay, and it's going to create a page like this. All right, I'm going to actually delete this one because I already have that that graph. But anyway, so here's departments, for example, and this one it showed up as it did a different type of graph here. So what I want to do is go to insert, and I'm going to make it a pie chart, or I made it a pie chart, so it's like this. It's easier to read than a bar graph for what it's trying to convey. All right, then I take this information, I take that bar graph or that pie graph, and I'm going to copy it. And I already did this here, but then you paste it in here. So what's going to happen is I have this PowerPoint, and I would save this on my computer. And every time I would go in and add an injury, so if we had add one more line on here, what I'd do is I'd go to all the tabs, go here and click refresh data. And if I'd made any changes, it's going to add those numbers in there, and it's automatically going to update them on here. So every week, let's say I go and change the KPIs every week. All I have to do is go and refresh it. I don't have to copy and paste everything. I don't have to make a whole new spreadsheet every week. I just go and I refresh all the different graphs, or I can refresh them on here and go to edit data, and basically it would update on here any changes I'd made on the spreadsheet in the last week, right? Make your job a whole lot easier tracking those KPIs. And as far as keeping everything simple, here I just have some simple graphs. All of these would be very easy for anybody to read and comprehend if they were up in, say, the break room, where everybody can kind of stand around and see them while they're waiting for their shifts to start or waiting for the microwave to cook their food or whatever. Nice and simple. And if I'm going to be printing these out, I just want to keep a nice white background. I don't want to use a ton of ink every week when I have to print these out, for example. But if I had, say, a computer screen where these got posted, it might not be a bad idea to just go into design and change it into something nice and simple. You know, a dark background, something like that that's going to be easy to read on a screen. It's going to draw your eye to what is the most relevant information on the screen, right? I wouldn't want to be getting into something like this that might be hard to see, especially when it's up on a screen, or something like this. It's going to be, too busy, too much going on there, right? So nice and simple. How are we going to make that simple for everybody to read? Might have some information on the safety committee every week there, or every month, however often they meet. Maybe pasting a copy of the minutes, what they talked about, who's on the membership or on the safety committee, and when they meet next. Nice and simple, not an overabundance of information. And maybe we'll have some projects. Now people can see, okay, I submitted a safety observation on such a topic and made a recommendation. And now I can see that that recommendation is turning into a project here in the next, say, 2 months, for example. So it shares that information for people in the company to see. So you can see with KPIs now, we've simpled it down. We've really thought through what do we need to share with everybody. We don't want to share employees' names, for example, if they've gotten an injury. So we don't want to say so-and-so had an injury on such and such a date. We want to try and keep that as confidential as possible. So we're not pointing fingers, but keep things simple. Make sure everybody can understand what's being presented and why, and really figure out why you want to present that information to people so you have the right audience. All right, so KPIs, that can be a struggle for some places to implement. But just be focused on what you're trying to share with everybody and get the right information out to the right crowd. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.